From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Micah Halpern, sitting in for Teisha Bader, here with the JBS News Update for Friday, May 12, 2017. Great Britain arrested a 34-year-old cyber terrorist named Samada Ullah. Ullah was the cyber librarian, one-stop shopping for everything you need as a terrorist. He taught anyone and everyone about missiles, bombs, encryption, and whatever terrorists need to know. He even hid his material in cufflinks, much like James Bond. Head of the counterterrorism squad of England, Commander Dean Hayden, said this about Samada Ullah.
He had set up an online library for a one-stop shop, in essence, for terrorists around the world. And we know that terrorists in other countries were accessing his website. And particularly on the website, he'd set up a library in relation to propaganda material, how to avoid how to use encryption, and how to avoid detection by the authorities. He also had direction and advice in relation to missile systems. He was acting alone, so I would class him as a lone actor. He operated by himself. He lived by himself in his bedroom in Cardiff. When we arrested him, we found over 150 different devices. We found 50 different email accounts that he was using, 30 different Twitter handles, and 9 different telephone lines, all of which were supported by encryption. He was trying to hide his true identity, but through his persona and those overseas investigations, we quickly identified who he was. And on his arrest, we found approximately 8 terabytes worth of data, which provided the evidence in this case, which ultimately related in the library that I've referred to.
Samada Ullah was arrested with the help of the Kenyan police. This week, Israel introduced a new police bureau. It is a special investigation and response unit for cyber crimes against minors. This unit will focus on cyberbullying and sexual abuse. The stats on cybercrime in Israel are devastating. 1 out of every 4 Israeli children has been subjected to humiliation, shaming, and online bullying. 1 in every 5 Israeli children has been sexually solicited online. As if that was not enough, 1 in every 10 Israeli children has been sexually harassed, blackmailed, or had their identities stolen while online. The new unit will have 100 investigators and will have a 24-hour hotline. Minors will be able to dial 105 and report an attack, an abuse, or any form of cyberbullying. This unit has been in the planning stages for several years. Now it will be a reality. This week, Iran tested a new torpedo, a high-speed torpedo. The Iranian missile was tested in the Straits of Hormuz, totally within Iranian territorial waters. No international protocols were violated. The missile is called the Hoot. It travels 250 miles per hour with a range of 6 miles. The West, understandably, is worried and is watching the Hoot very closely. Remember, 1/3 of the world's oil travels through the Straits of Hormuz every day. This week, the Military Times reported that the U.S. weapons are being used by Kurdish fighters in Syria to fight ISIS and Al-Qaeda. The Kurds are using U.S.-manufactured night vision goggles, rifles, and advanced optics. The journal also said that Kurdish fighters are using advanced combat helmets, digital camouflage uniforms, Patagonia cold weather attire, chest rigs that hold ammunition, body armor, and first aid kits, plus M4 rifles with various modifications, including infrared lasers used for targeting during nighttime raids. According to the journal, quote, American-made rifle optics and visible lasers have been provided to the Syrian rebel groups. While no particular organizations were specified, Lieutenant Commander Lara Bollinger told Military Times that those products include a scoped optic that special operators commonly call Elcon, an EOTech holographic sight, and an APEC-5 visible laser. These weapons will help Kurdish fighters as they attack Raqqa. The weapons raised the quality of Kurdish fighters to the equipment level of U.S. Army Rangers. Since this was made public, the White House has approved providing heavy and sophisticated weapons to the Kurds of Syria as they fight against ISIS. Hezbollah is making serious threats. Yesterday, Sheikh Hassan Nasrallah said that in the next conflict between Israel and Hezbollah, the conflict will not just be in Lebanon, but will also be in Israel. According to Nasrallah, Israel is, quote, scared and worried of any future confrontation and knows that it could be inside the occupied Palestinian territories. He continued saying, "There will be no place that is out of reach of the rockets of the resistance or the boots of the resistance fighters." The implication is that Hezbollah rockets will strike Israel at the most populated regions in Israel, and Hezbollah fighters will enter Israel. According to intelligence sources, Hezbollah has amassed hundreds of thousands of rockets. Some say over 100,000, others say 200,000. With that kind of an arsenal, Hezbollah can shoot at Israel non-stop, and Israel will be hard-placed to defend itself. And now for a look at tonight's programming on JBS. Coming up at 6, it's Shabbat services from New York City's Central Synagogue, followed at 7:30 by a concert with Shura Lipovsky from Krakow Festival. At 8, Thane Rosenbaum speaks with Bernard Omri Levi at the 92nd Street Y. At 9 o'clock, it's the film The Third Jihad, followed by Musica at 10:30. And coming up right after this broadcast at 5:30, Shlomo Riskin gives his thoughts on this week's Torah portion. I'm Micah Halpern. This is today's news update from JBS, wishing everyone a Shabbat Shalom.